puts it up. Michael Jordan. Oh, my goodness. That is unbelievable. Green's two-pump as good as it gets.
The road to the Final Four continues in Greensboro. This a little Cinderella matchup, a 15 against a 10. Lehigh shocking Duke on Friday. Xavier over the 10 seed Notre Dame, and here they are, the winner to advance to the regional, to the Sweet 16, and a matchup with Baylor on Friday night in Atlanta. Hello again, friends. Jim Nance and Clark Kellogg here courtside, and boy, that Lehigh win on Friday night, of course, it was history-making, and it sent shockwaves through the whole NCAA tournament.
Without question, they were outstanding. Did a good job defensively, Jim. Duke struggled to make shots from the perimeter, and Lehigh got a big-time performance from C.J. McCollum. 30.6 assists as well as 6 rebounds, and Knutson was practically perfect in his effort that night.
Tracy Wolfson's also with us. Tracy, let's go to you now.
Thanks, Jim. I'm here with Lehigh head coach Brett Reed. And Brett, what's this been like over the last 24 hours with all the media attention? How can you keep your team focused for this one?
Well, I think our guys have maturity. They have experience, and we're going to try to apply those things. But tonight we have 2 opponents. Our first opponent is a very good Xavier team. Our second opponent is our own emotions. We need to make sure that we can channel those emotions in a positive way and avoid a letdown. I think our guys are not satisfied with what they've done, and hopefully that attitude and that hunger can continue to carry forward.
We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Jim?
All right, he's one cool coach. He's got it mapped out. Chris Mack does as well for Xavier. And we'll come back with a tip in a moment.
Coverage of the NCAA men's basketball tournament is sponsored by USAA, Dove Men Plus Care, and by John Deere.
We're getting ready for Lehigh and Xavier, but a major development just seconds ago, learning from North Carolina that Kendall Marshall broke his wrist in the game against Creighton, right here falling on the foul. We're back in the locker room between games here. I waited for Coach Williams. He had told Tracy Wolfson they were concerned about an injury to Marshall's right wrist, and then some 20 minutes later in the locker room, I saw Coach Williams. There was great concern written all over his face, and now it's been confirmed by Steve Kirshner, the Associate Athletic Director of Communications at North Carolina, that Marshall has indeed a broken right wrist. The scaphoid bone is broken. Now, I don't know what that means, Clark
Nor
Kellogg.
do I, but his status uncertain, but a deflating, disheartening bit of news for the North Carolina faithful and the basketball team.
Wow. Now, here are the starting lineups for Lehigh. McKnight, what a game he had. McCollum, 30 against Duke. Hamilton, Adams, and Knutson, who did not miss from the field against the Blue Devils. And then for the Musketeers, Holloway. What a performance in that second half he had against Notre Dame. 25 for the game. Lyons, Wells, Walker, and Frease. For Coach Chris Mack in his 3rd year, they are absolute regulars in the NCAA tournament. 11 of the last 12. And in fact, 7 years in a row this program's been in the NCAA tournament. Dr. Brett Reed, we talked about that on Friday night. Went back and got his doctoral degree in instructional technology, and he certainly had it mapped out, the 2 things that they were fighting today: a great opponent and emotions. And the Mountain Hawks have the tip.
I get a sense that C.J. McCollum, who was 9 of 24 in his 30-point game Friday night, is going to be much more under control. Got a good shot that time for Adams on the penetration. Thought he forced some shots in that game and still was terrific.
Ball loose, and it's Lyons able to squeeze it back out to Holloway. Go ahead.
And this was another area where I thought Lehigh excelled defensively against Duke. But C.J. McCollum, I think, is going to let the game come to him a little better here in game 2 of the NCAA tournament.
Wells way off the top of the glass. And here comes McKnight. It's the trailer, Knutson.
Knutson had a big game. He was practically perfect.
Look at McKnight. Mackie McKnight gets the game's first 2. The point guard out of New Orleans, really raised in Houston. Big part of this Lehigh Mountain Hawk team that won the Patriot League tournament to qualify for the NCAAs.
This is something that they did so well, Jim. Hedging the ball screen, getting help from the big guy whose man is screening, and giving his guard time to get back to defend the ball. Love the way C.J. McCollum plays with his hands up when he closes out on perimeter players.
And Andre Walker hits the shot for Xavier, graduate student who played at Vanderbilt.
Remember, he got an inadvertent elbow late in that game the other night and was pretty groggy and did not return to the game. Good to see Walker back on the floor.
Here's McCollum, Patriot League Player of the Year, 2 straight years, and that ball tapped out by Adams. It'll go back to the Musketeers, 22 and 12 on the year, coming out of the Atlantic 10.
Got some outstanding guards on the floor, both Lyons and Holloway for Xavier, Mackey, McKnight, and C.J. McCollum. Holloway was brilliant. Scored 13 of his 25 in the last 10 minutes of that game on Friday night.
That is Lyons with the rebound by Adams. McKnight looking, and runs into some tall defenders. He's still going to take the shot, and it rattles in. Wow. They counted as a 3.
As they should.
Adams was ready to make a tap, and he wisely backed off. Would have been basket interference had he touched it.
When in doubt, leave your hands out around the goal.
Holloway. Nifty dribbling through traffic over the Lions. Back to Walker. Bend underneath, and 3-second violation. And that's a inadvertent collision as Wells was airborne, landing into Knutson. No damage, no foul. 3-second violation.
You know, rewatching that game the other night between Duke and Lehigh, really impressed with what the Mountain Hawks did defensively, Jim. They were solid. They challenged shots. Rarely were out of position. Did a good job against the pick and roll.
They held Duke again to 6 of 26 from 3. It felt like the whole game they could stay with them. Here's Adams. Turn around, and the Mountain Hawks are off to another good start. Up 7-2.
Taking advantage of the smaller 2 Holloway was Adams.
Frease with a nice powerful move by the 7-foot senior. Ignite and 1.
How about this sophomore, Mackey McKnight, has raised his level the last quarter of the season. Beautiful burst of acceleration there. And gets around a pretty good defender in Mark Lyons. But he changed gears right when he got into the lane. And finished through contact.
First foul on Lyons, and that one unable to go down, but 9-4 Lehigh.
That was something Lehigh did not do as well as it normally does, shoot free throws, Jim.
Knutson on the back of Frease. And his first. So Lehigh first ever NCAA tournament win. After 4 previous losses, first made an appearance in the tournament back in 1985 and ran into a Georgetown team that featured a guy named Patrick Ewing. Defending national champs went on away that Georgetown team to the title game again, only to lose to Villanova. That was the first time Lehigh tasted the tournament. Friday was the first taste of victory, thanks in large part to McCollum, who gets it back out to Hamilton. The 3 no. And Des Wells, who touched it last. It's going back to Lehigh as we reach our first break. Adams with the turnaround, 9-4, Lehigh. Jim Nance and Clark Kellogg, Tracy Wolfson here in Greensboro, and the 15's over a 2. It's been 11 years since we had a 15 win a game. Hampton over Iowa State. All of a sudden, Two of them broke out about 3 hours apart. First it was Norfolk State, and then of course the Mountain Hawks. Norfolk State over Missouri, and Lehigh here in the state of North Carolina going against a Duke team, of course, playing in its home state, about an hour from its campus. A decorated program with so many national championships and Final Fours, and Lehigh never even having a single tournament win, and they pulled it off. McCollum gets it come back to him, has it come back to him, puts up the next shot, and he's on the board.
Well, McKnight off to a terrific start, Jim. He's perfect for Lehigh. 3 of 3 plus a free throw. I'm sorry, a three-pointer, so 7 points for him. And another solid start here is Frease, who also had a big start in that game Friday night against Notre Dame, had all 10 of his points in the first half, then had to sit a good portion of the second half because Xavier needed to go small in order to defend Notre Dame's half-court offense.
Maneri in the game, and he had some rugged, productive moments too against Duke, and that's Adams with a little string music from the baseline.
Boy, Lehigh's so patient.
You know, they just, again, they have their countenance. They just don't seem overwhelmed by the. They have a great sense of occasion. Let's put it that way.
Well said. Extremely poised, disciplined together, and focused on the task at hand. Executing quite well to start this game as D. Davis steps in for Xavier. He's an energizer off the bench. Doesn't look to score much, but he'll pressure the ball and push it ahead briskly.
Number 32, B.J. Bailey joins the Mountain Hawks on the floor.
And Hamilton goes out. B.J. Bailey replaces him. Robinson had a nice move, but didn't finish it off. Lehigh hitting 6 of its first 10 from the field. McCollum.
Got him for an offensive foul there, Jim. He left his feet to make a pass.
That's his first.
His first, team foul number 2.
McCollum has averaged 25 points a game in his last 7, including that 30-point effort on Friday night. Nice job bottling up Holloway, not allowing him to turn the corner on that screen.
Davis. Beautiful 3 that had some serious hang time. Rips the nets coming off the bench.
He doesn't typically look at the basket very much, does David?
No.
So that's a bonus there. That's found money for Xavier.
Bailey dumping it down low. Maneri and Frease. Couple of bruisers, and Maneri able to buy the time to get the hoop. And a holding call. McKnight.
It's only the 11th three-point field goal made by D. Davis this season. His 23rd made field goal overall, so he's not a guy that looks at the basket much.
Travis Taylor comes in. First foul of McKnight. And here is Davis, who made the shot. And Taylor, who transferred from Monmouth University. Averaged 5 points, 4 rebounds a game this season. Freeze getting a little breather. And Jordan make that Gabe Knutson for Maneri.
Wet spot on the floor, apparently. Gregory Dixon taking care of it, along with a little help from Chris Mack. Gregory Nixon, I'm sorry.
Gregory Nixon, Michael Irving, and David Hall giving the assignment here. Lions And that's going the other way. It's going to be a charge call against Lyons. That'll be number 2 on him.
That's big.
That's a big moment there.
Yes, it is.
13:08. And he heads straight to the bench. Des Wells checking in.
Leaves his feet, and that was Knutson in good defensive position. Stepped in, solidly squared up. An easy call for the official.
Kleiner into the lineup for the Mountain Hawks, number 20. And a turnover committed by the Mountain Hawks. Got to this arena a little before 3 o'clock, before our first 5:30 tip-off, and there are already a bunch of Lehigh fans who are waiting for their tip, which it was 5 hours later, at 8 o'clock as it would turn out. So anxious, many of whom drove down from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania to be here after that epic win.
Oh, wow.
2 in a row. D. Davis. They had only 2 bench points on Friday night against Notre Dame, and he's given them 6 alone here in the first 7.5 minutes.
Huge and unexpected.
This is Griner taking it in and rejected.
Robinson.
McKnight, though. It's again the soft roll off the rim. He's had a couple of favorable bounces. One went down for a 3, that one for a 2. Holloway, and that is off. They still haven't determined. It's going to stay with Xavier. Going to stay with Xavier. Action early, 17-12 Lehigh. Back in Greensboro, where the news broke just a few minutes ago that Kendall Marshall broke his wrist in the victory earlier today against Creighton, and Tracy Wolfson standing by with Coach Williams. Tracy.
Coach, can you give us an update on Kendall Marshall?
Tracy, the only thing we can say is he has a fracture of the scaphoid bone of the right wrist. There's nothing else that we can say because we've got to see a doctor. They did get an x-ray and talk to the family. There'll be no update tonight. We just don't know, but we know that he has that.
What did you say to him? What did he say to you?
That's nobody's business.
All right.
I'm not trying to be cruel, but I mean, there's a time in coaching that you have to have relationships with players that CBS or ESPN or anybody doesn't have to know everything it said. He's just a wonderful, wonderful kid, and you just hate that to happen.
I appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Thanks for understanding.
And we thank Coach Williams for his time, indeed, and just shocking news because you really saw no evidence of it. He stayed on the floor, in fact, after he got injured.
Right.
And they treated him during a timeout as if he had like an elbow burn. Here's a steal by Bailey. Bailey lays it in.
Well, that's devastating and deflating news.
He's the floor general. He's the one that makes it go.
Yep.
And here they are, just all the talk for 9 days about Hinson getting back with a wrist sprain, and then you have Marshall with a broken wrist. Wells, that one bouncing out, but there's Frease with the putback. So they don't know, and there's, it really depends, just reading up a little bit on the scaphoid bone, where the break occurred.
Right.
And if it's, many times it does require surgery, but that's not always the case. And that is McKnight with a rainbow 3.
He's yet to miss, Jim. That's 5 of 5 for McKnight. And 12 points for him.
So when we have a break in the action, here's the injury. Marshall fouled by Raggi, and he landed on his right wrist. The scaphoid is one of the small bones in the wrist, and it's the wrist bone most likely to break. Here he is. Now watch the way he gets treated here. His right wrist is limp. And then one of the trainers on the team comes over to address the elbow initially.
Right.
And
probably even a delayed reaction for Kendall Marshall.
we just had an injury in this game with Wells getting hit in the face. That's why they stopped play.
Well, he's in obvious pain and discomfort. A double-double in the game on Friday night for Wells. 14 points and 11 rebounds and a couple of big free throws to seal the win. So Redford is out there for Xavier.
That's going back the other way. But just one last thing about that injury. It came with 10:56 remaining in the game. And he still stayed out there until inside of 7 minutes to go in the game.
Well, sometimes that adrenaline can keep you operating for a few minutes after an injury. Griner shakes free.
Yeah, Griner gets on the board, and look at the field goal shooting here. 11 out of 16 and the double-digit lead.
Well, that doesn't faze Xavier. They've come back from double digits 6 times this season, including Friday night against Notre Dame. But Lehigh operating on all cylinders, and look at Bailey.
Bailey comes soaring through, and a putback by McCollum. This Lehigh team, and the key word is team. What a chemistry. The Mountain Hawks on a 7-0 run and a 12-point lead first half.
Greg Gumbel in New York with an All-State March Mayhem update. On TBS in Nashville, Ohio University coming from behind. Walter Offit, 3 of his game-high 16. Ohio and South Florida tied at 31, 15.5 to play in the second half. Jim?
All right, Greg, we got a very calm dad right here, a very proud and calm dad with Nick Kellogg on that Ohio Bobcat team. And the winner to take on North Carolina in St. Louis on Friday. The North Carolina team that just had the stunning news that Kendall Marshall, their 300-plus assist man, who was really their MVP today as well. Here's a three-point shot. No. Still down by Maneri. Broken wrist for Marshall. If you're just joining us.
Terribly deflating and disheartening. You think about Dexter Strickland being out with the torn ACL and Leslie McDonald.
Amazing, all of this. Now, we just had an injury in this game, too, as well. We thought he got hit in the face.
We looked that way, too, Jim, but apparently
it's a wrist. There. Oh,
there
my goodness.
Yeah, that's John Adams rolling over on his right ankle there. That's a big loss for Xavier. Des Wells athletic. He's only a freshman.
Like you said, Maneri gets, again, a favorable bounce. Wells had that 14-point, 11 rebound effort against Notre Dame on Friday night. A big part of their comeback win. After the first foul on Walker, 1 of 2. Brings Brad Redford out here for more minutes tonight than maybe originally planned. Here he is. He can shoot it. Speaking of shooting it, this freshman's hit a couple of threes. There's Walker. And Griner pulls it down.
Lehigh doing a really good job just allowing one shot for Xavier. And then coming down and executing with the exception of that pass. They're going to retain possession, but the Lehigh Mountain Hawks have been very efficient at the offensive end and solid defensively and on the glass. As a matter of fact, second shot opportunities, Jim, have been part of what has allowed Lehigh to have this lead.
And shooting 67%. Maneri, he gives them good minutes off the bench. And he heads back as Knutson is back on the floor. Knight. Got Walker.
Good job by Walker to step out and really harass him there.
What a size disparity as McCollum. With 3 seconds, gives it to Bailey. Knutson with about 1 second on the shot clock. Look at the way they executed that. Now it's a 10-0 run. Davis, why not? Well, first miss after a couple of makes from outside.
Well, defense really solid for Lehigh.
There's McCollum. You know, it's interesting. They're up 15, and it's not really McCollum.
Exactly.
I mean, he's made some plays, no question.
It's been Mackie McKnight. Bailey has come in and provided a nice spark.
McCollum with 4 points. His Lions back on the floor with 2 fouls. And a nice dish. Walker to Frease.
He's third on the team in assists, is Andre Walker, and he showed you why right there. Good presence and a nice dump down bounce pass off one dribble penetration.
First basket in 3 minutes and 45 seconds. No, Mackie McKnight. There's Bailey off a steal and a basket. McKnight shooting from the outside.
Coverage of the NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament is sponsored by Buick, UPS, and by AT&T.
Lehigh, 11 out of 14 from 2. 2 turnovers, that's it.
Yep. And Mackie McKnight, M squared, making music from everywhere. 3-point land, favorable bounce. Driving for the 3-pointer the old-fashioned way. This young man has really picked up his play. Made the all-tournament team in the Patriot League tournament. Oh, how about this? On the dome, on the backside of the dome. Lehigh decaled in.
There is McKnight. And Robinson with the rebound.
Xavier needs to, Holloway needs to try to get aggressive, and denied by Knutson there.
McCollum. Davis trying to close in on him, and body's flying. It's a charge call, and that's big because that's the second now on McCollum.
Good anticipation here by D. Davis. He thinks, he realizes and recognizes that McCollum's going to try to get to the middle of the floor, and does a nice job getting to the spot, squaring up and drawing the charge. So the second foul on McCollum, and we'll see how long he probably will sit the rest of this half, I would think, Jim. No need to have him risk a third with Lehigh comfortably in front.
Both of his fouls were offensive fouls. To Holloway, ready to seize that moment with McCollum out. Driving on Hamilton, and tapped up too strong. Taylor off the floor with Griner. Knutson was calling for the lob from the corner. Hamilton has a 3 off the mark. And Lions. Holloway. Holloway hasn't been there so far at the start of this game. Cut off that 25 points. He's 0 for 3. McKnight out of control. No call. And Knutson draws the foul on Robinson.
Boy, Xavier really having a tough time on the defensive glass here in this first half, Jim.
First one on Robinson coming up. AT&T at the half. Scores and highlights and the latest tournament news. I know they're going to want to talk about this Kendall Marshall situation, plus a Naismith watch presented by AT&T, all coming up on AT&T at the half. Knutson, 15 of his 17 Friday night came in that second half. As Frease takes the place of Travis Taylor.
Des Wells left with that ankle injury a little while back. Xavier has not been able to do the job on the defensive glass. He's one of the better rebounders on this team.
Lehigh has not trailed in this game, and right now matching its largest lead of 15. Patriot League versus the Atlantic 10. 4 teams from the A-10 were in at the start. Xavier's the last one standing. That's Lions. Oh, and Robinson. was trying to dunk it down.
Mistimed it a little bit. Probably would have been better off trying to get 2 hands on that one. Trying to take Frease one-on-one, and Hamilton settled for a tough pull-up jumper. When you've got a big guy on you like that, you don't want to bail him out by shooting the perimeter shots. You want to try to drive him if you can. 3 seconds on Frease. Take another look at this tip-in opportunity for Robinson, and he just got rim jammed a little bit. Mistimed it just enough to not be able to punch it down.
Xavier just 1 basket in over 7 minutes. Meanwhile, at the other end.
Tough cover for Frease here. Knutson bailed him out by turning his back.
It's a different dimension when you got McCollum on the bench and you have to start setting things up. You don't have that weapon that he is. There's Bailey trying to make up for it. That's over the top of the backboard.
Good call by you, Jim. Mackie McKnight having a huge first half. He too is a facilitator and playmaker. McCollum is the other guy that Lehigh relies on to make plays for other people.
Justin Martin enters for Xavier. And Adams, John Adams, back on the floor for Lehigh. Xavier's missed 10 of its last 11 shots.
And no second shot opportunities either, Jim.
The winner of this one to take on Baylor Friday night in Atlanta.
How about Brady Hessler knocking down 9 triples as Frease able to shake free inside. He's been the most productive offensive player for Xavier outside of a couple of threes from D. Davis.
He's made some nice low post moves. Kenny Frease. Adams. Back outside. McKnight. Ooh, he wanted to launch it, but Holloway was closing in on him. Oh, he goes right past 2 Musketeers and scores.
Beautiful little hesitation dribble. Paused him, parked him, and then put him away.
Robinson. And he is hacked on the way up. 7 different players have scored for the Mountain Hawks, but they're led by the little guy. What a move. 14 for McKnight. The underdogs, the dogs in tournament. There you see the 15s. By the way, a 15's never won in this spot. So we had 6 times in history of 15 over a 2. 2 of them coming on Friday night after an 11-year absence. But all of those 5 other 15s that got to the next round, like Norfolk State today, they never got to the Sweet 16. Lehigh could make more history today. We've got an 11 in NC State already advancing to the Sweet 16.
Congratulations to Mark Gottfried and his club. Talented group playing its best basketball over the last couple of weeks.
There's Robinson with one more. Junior from Indianapolis. It's them both. So the Mountain Hawks trying to go the rest of the way in this first half with McCollum on the bench with 2 fouls. Just trying to save him for that second half. Not squander that lead.
If you want to finish this last 3 minutes strong, if you're Lehigh, and that's exactly how you do it. Nice job by Knutson there, Jim. He turned and faced and didn't try to back down the bigger Frease and was able to get all the way to the rim.
Knutson smartly making that play. He's a first-team All-Academic Patriot League member. So showing some basketball acumen with that. Down the baseline. And coming off the bench, contributing now, Justin Martin.
That was an impressive move there. He had to kind of shoehorn himself along that baseline to get that one up and down.
Knutson working on Frease again. Left hand, and the battle for it comes out to Lyons, who takes a tumble. Bailey on the ground, going to be whistled for that.
Only the 16th foul on Lehigh, so just be inbounding the ball. Good move by Knutson, and then there you see the scramble. Bailey guilty of the foul. Xavier would like to be able to get this to single digits. Holloway yet to score. He's 0 for 4. But you know he's capable of going on power surges all by himself.
Holloway, feet planted, perfection. And that lead is down to 10.
Always within himself, rarely forces things. Did a nice job setting up his defender and got a clean look at the three behind the screen.
From 15 down to 10 with 1:40 and a half. Double team on Knutson. That's off Holloway.
Good job by Holloway to come down after Knutson put it on the floor and turned his back.
Hey, look who's coming back in. C.J. McCollum with 1:40 on the clock and 2 fouls. They will not save him to the second half.
Well, I think they'd like to try to get a high-quality shot here on this possession, and expecting C.J. to be able to play effectively with the 2 fouls.
Dumps it right to McKnight, blocked by Martin.
Wow. Looked like a sure layup. Excellent play by Martin.
And that's Adams almost getting the theft. Lyons laying it up. No. Tap, yes.
Where would the Musketeers be without Kenny Frease? 6 buckets on 6 attempts.
7-0 run by Xavier. Musketeers make the move before the half. Big times for the Big Ten right now. 9-1. Advancing a whole bunch of teams now to the Sweet 16. They've got Indiana, Wisconsin, Ohio State, Michigan State. Purdue will be an underdog, of course, against Kansas. But they're still the 5th team out there. The hope is stoked. Okay. Adams back out to McKnight.
Trying to go on the smaller. He's got, he didn't need to do that. Just needed to take his time and turn and shoot over the smaller defender. D. Davis with another solid play.
That's 2 on John Adams.
Yeah, no reason. He just should have taken his time and spun away from D. Davis.
How about D. Davis? He's hit the big threes and drawn 2 charges.
Exactly. No, he's made a major contribution in his limited playing time. Justin Martin has a basket and a big block shot. So Chris Mack getting contributions from his bench as B.J. Bailey returns. C.J. McCollum going to sit down. He does have the 2 fouls. So
Anthony D'Orazio also onto the floor. Sophomore from Camden, New Jersey. With just under a minute to go in the first half. Lyons. Downtown.
How about this Xavier Musketeers team? Staying the course, wobbling but not breaking, and closing the half in impressive fashion.
Well, they changed the course of this game when they drew that second foul on McCollum. And Lehigh has been out of sync on this end of the floor ever since. 25 seconds to go. McKnight dish. Yes. McKnight again in the middle of things, and Knutson delivers the goods.
Back and forth we go, Jim. Holloway will keep this to the last second.
2 seconds to go. Holloway hits the 3 as we reach halftime. Lehigh led at the 2:48 mark, 35-20. That last 2:48, 13-2 for Xavier. Let's go over to Tracy.
Thanks a lot, Jim. Coach, Xavier with a 12-2 run to end the half there. What happened?
Well, it was a little unfortunate. We lost a little bit of our offensive rhythm. We count on C.J. McCollum. He was on the bench. We wanted to protect him. That last shot was a tough shot. It was blocked on the way up. They still made it. We know they're a good team. They're going to make some plays. The run was over. Now we've got the half. Hopefully we can have a good start to the second half, remain our composure, and be able to compete.
We wish you the best of luck. Thanks a lot.
Pardon me?
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
37-33. Lehigh leads. We'll go back to the studio in New York as we continue on the road to the Final Four.
AT&T at the Half is sponsored by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. Rethink possible.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ernie Johnson. Welcome to AT&T at the Half. A number 15 seed has never made it to the Sweet 16, but Lehigh is trying to do that, and they lead Xavier by 4. I am joined by Greg Anthony, Kenny Smith, Charles Barkley, and our special guest, St. John's head coach Steve Lavin. 37-33. Lehigh, the Mountain Hawks, trying to make history.
You know, it's interesting coming in. I thought this might feature the best point guard matchup of the tournament, to Holloway and going up against C.J. McCollum. But really, it's been the story of the impact of Kenny Frease on the front line from Xavier's standpoint, a perfect 6 of 6 from the field. And then also the young man, Mackie McKnight, has just gone off. 14 points in this game for Lehigh. They once led it by 15, but Xavier coaches fought themselves back into the game.
Well, you knew they were going to make a run. They're too tough of a team, too experienced, so no surprise they crawled back in. I was impressed that C.J. McCollum didn't force, coming off the big game, 30-9, the upset victory over Duke, the tendencies to try and do too much. Think you're Superman. He stayed within himself, and he's using the fact that he's being tagged or guarded very closely as a way to set up his teammates. And yet, with that said, in the second half coming down the stretch, he's going to have to find a way within their schemes to get it done, because he's going to have to carry this team over the top. He has the ability. We played them this year. They had us down 16 at Carnesecca Arena. They're no joke. We came back, fought hard, won a close game. He has the ability to create separation or distance to get his shots off. So even if he's not coming off of screens, off of the bounce, he can make plays, both shot make and play make.
Lehigh's got everybody's attention with the win over Duke. Kenny, do they have enough to hold off Xavier here in the second half?
Well, this, to me, is going to go down to decision-making by the guards, because both Holloway, C.J. McCollum, and all of their guards basically give the bigs baskets. So everything that they do in terms of, you don't just throw the ball down to the bigs of Lehigh and or you throw the ball down to the Xavier. You have to make a play for them. So everything is constituted on what Holloway and what McCollum is able to do in the second half.
Well, Mackie McKnight, like Greg said, played fantastic. C.J. McCollum's going to have to play better if they're going to win this game. But they're not intimidated. And Xavier's not the type of team you're like, oh, we can't beat them. They got the lead now, and I expect us to go down to the wire.
McCollum had picked up a couple of fouls, too, spent some time on the bench, came back late. The story everybody's going to be talking about revolves around North Carolina.
For the private use of our audience, any other use of this telecast or any picture, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the NCAA's consent is prohibited.
The lead at one time was 15. Lehigh has not trailed, but Xavier trimmed it to 4 with a Holloway 3 right before the half.
Well, it was Mackie McKnight who got it going for Lehigh early. 6 of 9 he shot. Kenny Frease is yet to miss. The Mountain Hawks have no answer for him inside, and then to close the half, Holloway made a pair of threes during that 13-2 run, and it's a 4-point game as we take a look at Holloway's shot chart. He missed his first 4 and then made his last 2, including that one near the halftime buzzer.
Didn't make any 2s, but a couple of big 3s.
Big 3s, and there's McKnight staying on the left side of the floor and doing a lot of damage there.
First half numbers, the Mountain Hawks were just on fire early.
But how about this, Jim? Right there, that's what gets Xavier back into it.
Yep. Xavier coming back onto the floor right now. The winner to advance on to Atlanta. We'll be right back.
Coverage of the NCAA men's basketball tournament is sponsored by Miller 64, Taco Bell, CDW, and by Capital One.
We're back in Greensboro. Let's go over to Tracy.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Thank you so much for your patience. Holloway Lions, a slow start. They picked it up there at the end. What do they need to do to get started here in the second half?
Well, it's not so much what they need to do, it's what our team needs to do. You know, the first 14 minutes, we were as porous as we could be on the defensive end. That has to change, and fortunately it changed in the last 3 minutes, but McCollum was on the bench, so that's where it starts.
We appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Jim?
And you pointed it out in the first half, Clark. This is a team that, came back from big deficits.
Right.
6 different times this season, double-digit comeback wins.
The only way you can come back from double-digit deficits is by playing defense. All those D's got me mixed up there. Double-digit deficits require good defense. There you go.
That's why alliteration sometimes can get you in trouble, okay? But you got it.
I got it. I finally spit it out.
You got it.
Defense has to be the anchor for Xavier. McCollum had to sit, really actually only sat 6 minutes, Jim, but it was near the end of that half when Xavier made its run.
Yep, even the Coach Mack acknowledged that that was a big reason why Xavier was able to get back into the game. So they're going to start the second half with D. Davis on the floor. He's earning some valuable minutes. And that was the 3-guard attack, Lyons and Davis. And 2 Holloway with the ball right here.
Sometimes you make a couple of late shots, they go right inside to Frease. And he's having the same kind of game that Cooley had the other night. Here you take a look at Frease. And just going right through contact. He's got a size advantage. And that's Hamilton guilty of the foul. 2 Holloway with the assist. And that makes it a 15-2 run going back to that last few minutes of the first half.
Foul was on Hamilton, his first. Freeze from Massillon, Ohio. And he'll be the first to tell you that he learned those low post moves from his mother, Margaret, who was a 4-year letter winner at Youngstown State. Going to be proud of this tremendous effort as Freeze is trying to extend his collegiate career. He's 7 out of 7 from the field. And this game is down to 1. McCollum puts it back outside. McKnight at long. Knutson, well, tried to save it toward Adams, but it bounced out high to Holloway.
Went right through Adams' legs, and there's Holloway.
And there's Freeze again. Putting it up and in. 8 for 8 from the field. And Xavier has its first lead of the game.
Xavier doing a great job taking advantage of Freeze inside. And Holloway, the catalyst, 2 assists to start this half. Where you got to be poised. You want to play through McCollum.
Oh, McCollum got it back. Blocked by Freeze, and it'll stay with Lehigh.
Excellent effort here by Knutson. And man, he bounced up quickly though. But it was too late because Freeze was already down the court and got a great pass from Holloway. Xavier picking it up defensively now, Jim, just like their coach talked about.
Holloway saw that pass coming and lays it up and in. A 20-2 run and a timeout called by the Mountain Hawks. The Sweet 16 begins Thursday with the Infinity NCAA tip-off on TBS at 6 p.m. followed by doubleheaders on CBS and TBS. Jim Nance, Clark Kellogg, Tracy Wolfson, and again, there's a game coming down to the wire. Ohio and South Florida in the final minute, and that game is available for you to watch on TBS. Purdue and Kansas battling on TNT. McCollum short on the baseline, follows it up again, and is fouled on the shot.
Boy, he's an excellent rebounder for his position. Good timing, long arms, a little short on that initial shot, but stayed with it, and he'll have a chance to finally stop this blitzkrieg of a run by Xavier.
First foul on Holloway. So McCollum, number 4 scorer in the nation. We've had an 18-point swing before that free throw in a 4.5-minute stretch, dating back to the last 2.5 minutes of the first half. McCollum gets both.
That run fueled by Holloway making a couple of threes, and to start this second half, Jimmy had 2 assists to Kenny Frease, who has had his way inside against the smaller Knutson. Frease doing a nice job keeping his body on Knutson.
That's blocked. There's McCollum in there with the 2 fouls, risking one, and Walker's going to be called for the reach-in. That was the first miss of the game by Frease after 8 makes. You can watch every 2012 March Madness game live on your computer, iPad, iPhone, or select Android phones with NCAA March Madness Live. Visit ncaa.com/March Madness for more information. McCollum inbounds to McKnight. Coming inside, and Frease was able to knock that one away. A block. Right back, though. Bailey sends that one out of bounds with a rejection of a Holloway shot.
Bailey came up a little gimpy there. Excellent work, though. Good extension and got all pumpkin. One of the things with outstanding shot makers and playmakers, as is the case with C.J. McCollum and Holloway, every now and then they just have to idle it back. Try not to do too much.
Frease dunks it down.
Boy, the penetration has given Frease real good scoring opportunities inside. Lehigh was pretty good defensively the first 12, 13, 14 minutes, Jim, and had trouble disrupting Xavier since then.
And Bailey outside McCollum, and the rainbow net. Frease with the box out.
Good defense and challenge that time, and a push ahead.
McCollum's there. Look at him get the outlet pass. Squeeze it over to McKnight, who comes in on Davis, and that's a block foul on Davis this time. His first.
Mackie McKnight, again, shifty with the hesitation dribble. Got just enough of Davis to put on the brakes. And that got him a shoulder by to draw the foul. Boy, he's been impressive, hasn't he?
He has, but I tell you, I'm looking at that scoring bar at the top of the screen, looking at the Bobcats, and your son, Nick Kellogg, a starter, key contributor, and they're 15 seconds away from sending Ohio onto the Sweet 16 for the first time in school history.
Run, clock, run.
It's been sitting at 15 seconds for a while now.
Hopefully that's just a glitch in the system, and we'll see final post up there pretty quickly, Jim. Got a good one here. Boy, I'd like to see that one be over with the Bobcats on top.
A 13 seed it would be onto the Sweet 16 as Robinson has it stripped away by McCollum. It is a final, Clark. It is a final, partner. Congratulations.
Oh, my goodness.
Congratulations.
Oh, my goodness.
Your hands are all clammy there, my friend.
My goodness. Wow.
Did you ever get that nervous playing?
No, it's all different when your kids are doing it, man. It's a totally different deal. Oh, so, my goodness.
On to play North Carolina.
There's my son and my wife, my lovely wife. There's Nick James. Good job, young fella. Ready to go, Bobcats!
I don't know how you do it. 62-56 final. First time ever to the Sweet 16 and on to play North Carolina Friday in St. Louis. And Adams' shot goes out of bounds. And Adams is holding his wrist for a moment. Lehigh 0 for 7 from the field in this half.
I think that was just a case of being embarrassed about the air ball and wanting to make sure his fingers were okay and reminding himself just to shoot it and not try to guide it. At least that's my guess.
Holloway hits another three with a player right in his face.
Nothing guided about that one. To Holloway. Stepping on the gas pedal here, Jim.
Holloway. Boy, as he hit some shots. Freeze 2. Xavier leads it.
Greg Gumbel in New York with an All-State March Mayhem update. Ohio University into the Sweet 16 for the first time since 06, a 13 seed, 62-56. Nick Kellogg, 3 of his 9 points, all coming in the second half. Jim, in case you're sitting next to anybody close to you, who cares?
Oh, man.
Well,
what a thrill.
Well, we've been talking about this for the last 3 minutes. The parental pride of seeing that kind of dream come true and being a part of something special, going to a Sweet 16 first time in school history. By the way, Walker is hurt. Remember, he took a shot to the head a couple of nights ago, and then he gets this inadvertent blow to the head. McCollum bouncing into him, so Walker is sitting down.
Well, you hate to see that because any blows to the head, you always start thinking concussion, and it's great to see him back out here today, and then he bangs heads and has to sit a while. Lehigh trying to find his rhythm. And Jim, you made a good point. When C.J. McCollum picked up the second foul and had to sit down for a little bit, he wasn't out a ton, but it was enough to really kind of change the rhythm of what Lehigh was doing. Even though he hadn't scored a lot, his presence on the floor gives this team confidence and also gives them another playmaker. And they've struggled to regroup since about the 3-minute mark of the second half.
They just were out of sync. Once he went to the bench with the 2 offensive fouls, they were out of sync, and even when he returned, they weren't able to get back into that gear again.
Right.
But there's still 15 minutes to go.
And the lead is on the deficit, only 5.
Knutson gotten some looks, including McKnight. The previous trip had an open 3. They failed to materialize.
And Holloway is awakened. He's knocked down 3 threes as Xavier has gained control of this one.
Martin shot bouncing out to Bailey.
When you struggle to make shots from the perimeter, you'd like to try to get something going to the basket.
Oh, no whistle there as Bailey hits the deck. Lehigh has still failed to hit a shot from the floor in this half. Now 0 for 10.
Well, Chris Mack talked about his team needing to pick it up defensively. They've done a solid job, but you're right. Lehigh has missed a couple of good looks.
5 on the shot clock. Holloway loves these kind of moments. With 1, he gets the time, and you just knew he was going to deliver it.
He's got a special knack, Jim. He's always under control for the most part. And not only is he poised, he's extremely confident in his ability to get a shot up and down.
McKnight trying to avoid getting trampled on the floor, draws the foul. Get exclusive in-game video highlights, up-to-the-minute scores and stats of all NCAA March Madness games at ncaa.com. Second foul on Robinson will set up 2 at the line for Mackie McKnight.
Knight had 14 of those points in the first half, and boy, it seems like everything is just unraveling a bit for this Lehigh team.
Freeze back on the floor. What a game he's had.
He's been terrific, Jim.
He's got 19 points, 7 in this half, 5 rebounds as well. And Lehigh, the confidence has suddenly disappeared. Holloway, speaking of confidence, though, he was feeling it.
Frease is tied a season high, Jim, with the 19 points.
Knutson, waiting, and he'll go to the line. And that's on Robinson, his third.
Well, one way to get back in it and to try to get yourself going is to knock down some free throws, get to the free throw line, give you a chance to take a breath, pause, score with the clock stopped.
They hit big free throws against Duke. And Walker, after the hit to the head, and a little woozy for the second straight game. He's back out there.
Robinson going to take a seat. Just picked up his third foul. Well, you got to feel like if Lehigh can just kind of weather this storm and get it going. C.J. McCollum's the kind of guy, Jim, that can do just what Holloway has done here. Kind of not involved and not going well, and then all of a sudden he's in the middle of everything for Xavier.
That is Knutson sending that one back into the stands.
Excellent job of moving his feet. Lions thought he had a clean lane, and Knutson never gave up on it. Trying to fight Frease inside.
Nice block by Bailey, and that's Knutson.
Oh, man.
Beats a baseline, and there they are on the board with a basket.
My goodness, what a move.
That shows you what kind of talent that kid has.
Wow.
That breaks a 7-minute and 39-second field goal drought.
Frease wants to go one-on-one. Beautiful.
Why not?
Beautifully done. A season high for him now, 21. Took his time. Knew he could get what he wanted.
And McKnight out of control. Turns it over.
This is shaking him up and dropping him off, Jim. Shook up the bigger Walker, and then body control, concentration. Exquisitely done. Well, they're going to have to double team Kenny Frease if he catches it on the low box, the Mountain Hawks, because he's just too big and thick and tall for Knutson to handle by himself.
A big weight difference here as Frease is going to draw the foul on Knutson. And that'll send the team to the benches. Second foul on Knutson. Frease again. Season high, 21, leading the way for the Musketeers. Field goals this half, Lehigh 1 of 11. Xavier 7 out of 16. We've had a big swing here, Clark Kellogg, from a 15-point lead by Lehigh to where now Xavier has the lead by 5.
That's a huge window. And you take a look, Kenny Frease has been all over it for Xavier. Patience, catching it cleanly and finishing. Lehigh at a supreme disadvantage because of his size. Look at those numbers for Frease, 10 of 11. And that's been supported by a few timely threes. D. Davis made a couple early. 2 Holloway has made 3. Frease not a very good free thrower on the season, just 55%.
If he makes his free throw, he will tie his career high. There you go, 22. The 7-footer so highly sought after out of Perry High School in Massillon, Ohio. Notre Dame wanted him. Big presence at Xavier for a long time. McCollum. Bailey flying through. Beautiful, beautiful follow-up from the far side by B.J. Bailey. sophomore from Mays Landing, New Jersey. Freeze pass, Walker. Back out, there should be a violation.
Somebody touch it, though. I think it was deflected.
Okay.
Or maybe not. I thought it had been deflected as well. A delayed whistle.
Boy, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. Chris Mack thought it had been touched. So did Mark Lyons. We'll take a look at it from the end zone. Walker bottled up, and it was touched. That ball was touched.
By Adams.
Yep.
But it'll go the other way. Let's see if Lehigh can take advantage of that. And that's a push-off call against Davis. That's 17 fouls. It'll be a 1-and-1. Second one on Davis.
Only 2 fouls committed so far for Lehigh.
Second round coverage of the 2012 NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championship begins tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. For more information on game times and listings, go to ncaa.com. And McKnight will have another one.
Jim, we talked about how Lehigh seemed to be out of sync. You can sense that they're starting to get a little bit of that mojo and rhythm back here.
Yep, definitely feel it.
Yep. I
think the Bailey putback was the kind of effort that team needed for a spark.
Look at the free throw disparity. Lehigh winning that battle.
Frease showing an outside game, no. And that's McCollum chasing it down before it goes out of bounds on the sideline. Puts up the jumper and right back in it from 7 down. Lehigh ties it at 50. A 10-3 stretch here for the Mountain Hawks. And Bailey a little too snug with that coverage on Holloway. At second, team foul number 3.
Yeah, that's a good advantage right now for Lehigh. Only the 3 team fouls. Lehigh in the bonus, so common fouls on Xavier. Equal free throws for a team that shoots 78%. You saw Des Wells on the sideline for Xavier. Suffered an injured ankle in the first half. Doesn't have his warm-up off, so don't know if he'll be able to return or not.
Holloway against McCollum. What a matchup.
Good defense.
Freeze to Robinson. Tapped around and into the hands of McCollum.
He won't give this up if he gets a good look.
Beats the corner to Adams. Slides off the rim. Knutson keeps it. Adams underneath. Blocked by Freeze, who taps it out. McKnight with the save as he takes it to press row.
Oh, man, it's ramping up in here, Jim.
Hey.
The temperature is rising.
It is. Sweet 16 on the line.
Oh, these kids are going after it. And that's how you have to get to the Sweet 16, Jim. You have to go get it. Play with boldness, confidence, and fearlessness.
McCollum's pass deflected by Robinson, who made the play. Lions step back for the 3, and Robinson is fouled. And a nice offensive rebound by Robinson to go up high. Snatch that away from Lehigh. That is the 3rd foul now on Knutson.
Jeff Robinson will be at the line. 2 shots.
2 at the line for Robinson. And there is Coach Mack's family. Wife Christy. And there she is with the 2 little girls, Haley and Lainey.
I think Haley was out on the court with Dad during the practice on Thursday.
And the girls are loving it, all dressed out in their little cheerleader uniforms. 2 free throws by Robinson, puts the Musketeers back up by 2. There's Christie. One bracket for the Sweet 16 is complete. That's the West. We got a Big Ten, 2 Big East, and an SEC team there. In fact, so far, only a couple of slots still open to the Sweet 16. The first non-Big 6 conference team to get in is Ohio University. And there'll be one more coming, the winner of this one.
That's right. That is correct.
We got a 13 in. Again, that would be Ohio, and an 11 joining the party.
North Carolina State, Mark Godfrey and his club will either have a 10 or 15 from this game.
There's double-digit seeds, bringing a lot of life to the tournament.
I'll stay away from double digits. I kind of stumbled on that a while back.
You're fine. Frease lobs it. Robinson on the floor, and McKnight able to bounce it off of Robinson's foot.
Not able to catch it cleanly, and then tried to get the rhythm bounce. See, that's almost one where you're trying to shoot it as you catch it, but he was a little too far underneath the goal. His momentum carried him. You look at Andre Walker, Des Wells.
Wells with that ankle sprain. That ankle rolled in the first half, and they've had to go the majority of the way without the freshman. That's McCollum. Tough shot right over Frease.
Big time.
To tie it at 52.
And this is the kind of guy, Jim, that can beat you because of his ability to get tough shots like that and make them, but also draw defenders to him and find open teammates.
Holloway's got to be saying, wait a minute, I'm looking up at that board. It says 52-52. Give me the ball.
Well, he and Mark Lyons both can do damage off the dribble, but Holloway.
Number 52. He wants to put up his own numbers. I instead feed it over the Lions.
Oh, that's a nice closeout. That's an excellent job defensively by Lehigh. Terrific closeout. I think it was Bailey. No, if it was McCollum. And then it was Hamilton that took the charge.
The 4th foul on Lions.
Greg Gumbel in New York with a tournament update over on TNT in Omaha. What a first half Robbie Hummel has had for the Purdue Boilermakers. 22 first half points. Purdue leading Kansas at halftime. 36-30. Jim and Clark.
Wow. Thank you, Clark. Thank you, Greg. As Robbie Hummel finally getting his chance. You look at that bracket. If Purdue upsets Kansas, you'd have a 10 and an 11 in that matchup down at the bottom, and a 13 against perhaps a Marshall-less North Carolina team off the Kendall Marshall broken wrist from earlier today. We don't know his status.
Right.
We do know it's a wrist fracture, but you talk about this wide open regional in St. Louis.
Man, I'm telling you, that's why we call it March Madness. It is indeed that, and we've got a good one here, Jim.
Neri back on the floor, setting a screen for McCollum. Pass got away.
Had a chance to make that pass sooner. Got himself up in the air. And there you see Brett Reed just encouraging his team. Let's go back and get a stop defensively.
2 impressive young coaches. There's Chris Mack. Each of them really doing outstanding jobs to get their teams to this point.
When you think about the adversity Xavier has gone through this season. After the fight in Cincinnati, this team lost its bearings a bit. The compass was a little awry, but they've stayed together, have galvanized, and have put together some outstanding basketball over the last couple of weeks. And right here competing hard and quite well for a chance to get to the Sweet 16.
7 minutes left in the game. Only 17 on the shot clock. The tie game at 52. Here's McCollum. Breaks the tie.
Holloway spraying that triple. Boy, has he come up big. He's been so efficient after the slow start. He's been on fire from the three-point line.
And broke a 5.5-minute stretch. Xavier from the floor. Hamilton. That one rattles out. Maneri, though, saves the possession. McCollum, tough three. Gets down and out. They had two that nearly dropped. Lehigh has missed its last 10 from outside the arc.
And a pretty good three-point shooting team on the year, Jim, at 36%. This is a kid, Jim, that prior to the start of this season, an errant pass and Robinson, one he should have caught, though. Not ideally placed, but still one he should have caught. But prior to the start of the season, you look at Andre Walker. I thought Stu Holiday was a player of the year candidate because of what he can do throughout a game, but particularly in late game situations. 3 miscues in the last 4 trips for Xavier. Gives Lehigh a chance to tie it or cut the lead. A lot of dribbling, keeping it on one side of the floor.
Adams likes the point. And again it tips out. Back over to Holloway, who was third team All-America last year. The star matchup, Holloway.
Got some help from Maneri. I think we got a hand on it.
We reached the 5-minute mark to go. Musketeers massaging a 3-point lead. Holloway again. Freeze, quick draw on the putback, and a timeout called by Xavier. Freeze's totals up to 24, and Haley and Laney are loving it. The last 5 to Xavier. They're going to return. The Musketeers are Andre Walker to the floor out of this timeout, which they called. Jim Nance, Clark Kellogg, and Tracy Wolfson here in Greensboro. Freeze, huge numbers tonight. Career high numbers.
He's a senior. That urgency kicks in. And sometimes you see guys perform way above the career norms. See what Lehigh does out of that timeout.
McCollum. Maneri back over to Hamilton. Oh, it was so set up.
Just overshot it, Jim. That was well done. Pick and slip. Maneri patient and got it to the weak side, and Hamilton got distracted by the defender and overshot it.
D. Davis was complaining that the ball was a little slippery. This year, enjoy more madness with Coke Zero. Text CAMP, C-A-M-P, to 26553 for a chance to attend an ultimate basketball camp with 3 of your friends. By the way, in this second half, Lehigh, off that latest miss, is 4 of 25. 16% from the field.
And yet, only a 2-possession, actually a 3-possession game, 5-point deficit.
Freeze. And Knutson says, wait a minute, I had all ball. But the officials say, nope, that's on you. Got a piece in the hand. And that's 4 on Gabe Knutson.
That's really good, smart basketball, Jim. 4 around 1. Freeze working on Knutson inside with his teammate spacing the floor. And Holloway taking his time to make sure he got it into him.
2 for Freeze. The senior. As you see Maneri come in, who will be added to the list. Since 1986, this program at Xavier, the last 83 4-year players have all graduated.
That's what it's about.
It's the best stat of all.
Yes, it is. Enjoy the experience between the lines, but get that paper.
Big rebound off the miss. Maximize this trip. Look at McKnight. He stayed with Holloway, and he got tripped from behind by Holloway. That'll be a 1-1 out of the break. Only 15 second half points in what's been an intense battle here in Greensboro. And let's take a look at the Capital One Cup Impact Performance.
That's an easy one here in Greensboro in this game. Kenny Frease, a career high, and a double-double to boot. There's too much size for the smaller front line of Lehigh, and his teammates doing a good job milking it and taking advantage of it.
And Xavier informing us that, Frease is on fire. That Tu Holloway had blood on his jersey, so they've made a uniform change. He's going to slip on right now, number 24. Maybe his right hand examining that a little bit. Have a little cut that's been addressed at the line now. A 1-1 for McKnight. Got a season high 17. And, that opportunity slips away.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Martin with the rebound. It looked like maybe an extra step, but they're moving on down to the other end for the Musketeers with less than 3.5 to go.
Well, the fact that Xavier has a low post presence in Freeze really valuable in this kind of situation where you're playing half-court basketball. You've got a really good ball handler in Holloway.
There's Walker with one on the shot clock. Big basket. Big basket. Drive it in. His time was running down, and it's up to 8. That's 8 unanswered.
After we were squared at 52. Another surge by Xavier.
Largest lead of the game, and we'll get the ball back off the McCollum miss.
Bit of a force that time. And Chris Mack wants a timeout, Jim.
Timeout, Xavier. Lehigh has gone scoreless the last 5 minutes and 15 seconds. Here's a look at the regional in Boston, the Syracuse, Wisconsin, and Ohio State. A Big Ten flavor to that one. And Cincinnati and Florida State playing tonight for that final spot in the East. And again, the winner of this one will head to the South. Kentucky and Indiana. Baylor against the winner of this one will be there to see all the action on Friday night with the regional final on Sunday. So again, Holloway having to switch to number 24 with blood on the uniform, and he'll take the inbounds pass. Xavier closing out halves with great distinction.
Yes.
Did it against Notre Dame. Did it in the first half tonight. And doing it here. Scoring the last 8. Holloway, tough shot.
Good defense, but there's Walker.
Walker with a big basket, and
it didn't hit the rim.
Never did touch
the rim.
So now Lehigh, they needed to lock down on that very possession by Xavier.
Really impressive defensive job one-on-one that time by C.J. McCollum on Tu Holloway. Now you've got to get a good opportunity here. Ideally, you like to get something going to the basket, maybe draw a foul, get the clock stopped.
Not scored in 6 minutes. High, and McCollum too strong with the shots. They're just not dropping in this half for Lehigh. Again, over 6 minutes.
And Xavier content, as the Musketeers should be, to utilize some of that clock. Make Lehigh chase them. Only the 16th foul, or was that the 7th?
Yeah, that's number 6.
Yeah, so ball inbounded, reset of the shot clock.
So a fresh 35 with 1:47.
Well, you think about this Xavier team, Jim, and I said it earlier, but it's the turbulence they encountered back in December. 13-12 after starting 8-0.
That's what they were coming into the tournament, and then it had to be a total reset for them.
Yep.
Because the questions about the brawl game with Cincinnati have followed them everywhere. And that's the third foul on Bailey. But going back to the Sweet 16, if they're able to close this one out, 1-1 for Lions.
I saw that shooting percentage for Lehigh. Still life if they can somehow get a bucket here. Gotta go fairly quick.
McKnight and Frease. Just everywhere, controlling things in this game.
Big time effort, and early on Lehigh was getting some second shot opportunities, but not many here in the second half.
Well, Lehigh has not scored since the 8:08 mark.
But Xavier has put it in the basket after the game was tied at 52. Big play right there by Andre Walker.
Enjoying the action here on 2 TV.
2 has been terrific. Timed the scores and another missed free throw chance for Xavier.
Well, Lehigh can hit this one. Who knows? And they do with McKnight at the minute 3 mark. Well, that certainly changed the attitude in the building. It took them 7 minutes and 5 seconds since they had previously scored. McKnight keeps the hopes alive. Lehigh has the possession arrow and 2 timeouts. Xavier to inbound, leading by 5. Xavier trying to advance to the Sweet 16 for the 4th time in 5 years.
Well, minute. Both teams over the limit in the penalty, so Lehigh here. Well, you can go one of 2 ways, Jim. You can actually foul quickly and try to get some cooperation on misses, or you can give yourself a chance to, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to try to stretch it out. Hamilton
reaching in. It'll still be a 1-and-1. Holloway having just missed the front end the last time down the floor.
You know, I started to say you could possibly try to force a turnover, give yourself a couple of seconds, but in reality you need to stretch the game out, trailing 5. So the way to do that is to foul immediately and hope you get some cooperation on some misses. The Musketeers have missed the front end of the 1-and-1 the last 2 trips. This guy is an excellent free throw shooter. If he gets there enough, he's not going to miss too many.
86%.
Yeah.
Those 2 were never in doubt.
Not at all. Net didn't even move. Now it's a matter of attacking and getting a quick score.
Holloway has 18. Here's McCollum coming up the floor.
1 minute. Xavier doesn't want to foul here.
McCollum has been held to 12 tonight. Here's a shot and short. Lehigh, a couple of players battling for it on the ground. On the floor, they're going to call it on Robinson.
Well, that helps the cause for Lehigh if they can knock these down. Only 9 seconds off the clock.
Yep.
And you can possibly have it down to 5.
And double bonus, Knutson at the line. Robinson with his 4th. You saw Zaverkai on the floor. We haven't seen him in the East Region action here. South Region action here in Greensboro, but came in and did a good job a couple of times keeping that ball alive on the misses.
Yep.
Freeze back out. Lehigh 10 out of 17 from the line.
Well, they shot it uncharacteristically poor the other night as well, Jim.
Yes,
I think
did.
25 of 37, I think. That's what it was. They had a good advantage there against Duke, but still not near as well as they have shot free throws all season.
Jordan Hamilton, senior from Seattle, Washington, takes Knutsen's place in the lineup.
Got to make sure you protect the long pass and then make everything go in front of you and then foul immediately. 9-2 Holloway. And the turnover.
Lost it. McCollum. Oh, man, that shot almost dropped.
Wow.
Wow is right.
Andre Walker panicked just a little bit and almost compounded things with a potential and one there.
Coach Reed's team still has hopes. The coach on that Lehigh sideline, the son of a coach. Here's Coach Reed. Coach Mack battling here in the final minute. Cuts it down to 4. Timeout. Xavier. Hey, that timeout was called by Lehigh. Each team has 1 remaining. Xavier had trouble inbounding it last time. And there you see the coach's father, Coach Reed's father, Lynn, who was a longtime coach at Oakland Community College. Took his team, in fact, to the National Division II Junior College Final Four. And Brett is just a young boy, got to sit on the bench. Inbounding it. Foul. Double bonus at the other end now. That's 10.
Even if he makes them, it's just a 2-possession game, Jim. So Lehigh doing a good job of trying to stretch this out. 42 seconds, a lot of time. Dad.
Yeah.
I can only imagine the butterflies rumbling in his stomach.
You're not watching. His son's team trying to make history. No 15 has ever advanced to the Sweet 16. Already made big history with the win over Duke on Friday.
Doesn't have to be a 3. It just needs to be something good and quick.
Column. And that's McKnight. Swatted away by Walker. Into the hands of Davis. Walker's made a couple of big plays here tonight.
That's what he does. He is really the epitome of a value utility guy, Jim. Made the strong drive to give Xavier an 8-point lead. After the offensive rebound by Mackie McKnight, able to deny the shot attempt. Made a nice assist earlier, but he just does a little bit of everything.
And in all of that, Knutsen was called for his 5th foul, so he is out. Boy, did he play well on Friday night, and again backed it up with 11 more here.
He gave tremendous effort, was really productive as well. Just overmatched against Kenny Frease today, but still fought him hard throughout the ball game. I think it'll be his first, if in fact Lehigh is not able to come back, it'll be the first loss for Gabe since he got rid of the headband. You know, he was sporting a headband a few weeks ago, and
you start getting a 9-game win streak, you stay with what's working, you know.
That's right.
You retire the headband.
He did.
Walker to shoot 2. Still 34 seconds to go. That one way wide. He's only 53%. So they sent the right man to the line. You'd have to think McCollum felt good about that shot that would have brought him within 2. And there's the second one to go. So still a 2-possession game. Let's see if the Mountain Hawks have any kind of great rally in them.
Good look at it.
It's the shot they want. And Lyons able to tap it over to Holloway. And Adams commits the foul.
Well, they got a good look at it, Jim. McCollum finding McKnight. It was a good challenge. I couldn't tell which Xavier player, though, extended and challenged that shot. You know, it's amazing when you challenge shots how the shooting percentage goes down. Just getting your hand up on a shooter, making that effort.
Jeff Robinson returns for the Musketeers.
Coach Mack, he can talk basketball at home. His wife Christy, you saw there, she was a star player at Dayton. Yeah, big career there. And Holloway gets him both. 21 for Holloway. McCollum way outside, and time is running out on the Mountain Hawks. And a remarkable run in this tournament. Reach-in foul called on Severkai. This game is going Xavier's way.
And they methodically earned it, Jim. Down 15 at one point. Had a major surge the last 3 minutes of the first half to cut it to 4. Started briskly in the second half on the inside scoring of Kenny Frease and the playmaking of Holloway.
And here's going to be a giant ovation for Kenny Frease. Points and 12 rebounds tonight.
Large, big time performance from that young man, and he has played well over the last few weeks. Double digits in 6 of his last 14 points a game during that time.
Up ahead, Lions. Well, this Lehigh run's going to end. We'll never forget around Bethlehem this team and what they accomplished. The game belongs to Xavier. Back to the Sweet 16, 4th time in 5 years. This game had been tied at 52 with 6.5 to play, and then they went 18-6 the rest of the way. Only double-digit loss of the whole season for Lehigh.
That's right. Great effort, just not enough shot making, and give Xavier a lot of credit. The defense, as Chris Mack talked about at halftime, had to pick up, and it did.
So the South is all set now for Atlanta. Kentucky, Indiana for the 2nd time this season, and Baylor against Xavier.
Couple of good matchups there, Jim.
A 1, a 3, a 4, and a 10.
This Xavier team recapturing the swag it had early in the season.
No question. They've regained it now. That mojo they had off to an 8-0 start with a lot of wins over big-time teams. Let's go over to Tracy Wolfson.
Thanks a lot, Jim. Coach, congratulations. This one was a tale of 2 halves for you. What was the biggest difference there?
Well, I thought finally in the last 2.5, 3 minutes of the first half, we gained a little bit of momentum rather than going into halftime 15-17 down. You know, we could not stop them in the first half. Dribble penetration crushed us. Second half, we did a much better job. And then establishing Kenny all game long was really the difference for us offensively.
How proud are you of these guys after everything they went through this season and now to have the opportunity to play in the Sweet 16?
Really proud. The only guys that know what we went through were the guys in the locker room, and some may say it was self-inflicted, but I know we have great kids, and I'm really proud of them today.
Congratulations. Enjoy it. Now let's talk with Kenny Frease, the star of the night. Career night for you. Why were you able to have so much success?
You know, my teammates put me in great positions, and you know, I was able to finish down low. And you know, I've just been working hard all year. The team's been working hard all year, and we're happy to be here.
Well, we'll see you in Atlanta. Congratulations.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Jim?
Thank you, Tracy. What a moment that was. The whole Lehigh team came back on the floor, came over to their fans. Beautiful moment. Xavier